Predictions. Will
Oh,
tower
there's
be killed before
predictions?
minute 10? Yes. Team with the most runes picked up by minute 10. I'm not gonna share it with everyone, obviously. I
Oh, you
got
want to
my
get
own
the points for
predictions.
yourself. Okay, cool, cool, cool.
Exactly.
Team with the most Roshan kills. Who am I picking?
Both teams have good like crush potential. On one side you have Tusk, Death Prophet. On the other side you have like the Nature Prophet, the Morphling with a ton of damage. It's not they aren't like the most amazing teams for Rush, but
Mhm.
perhaps if you're CDC, you have a little bit of a simpler way. You just pop that DP ulti, you go in.
So,
Is this a DP5? By the way, it is, right?
is it Imitator on
Or
there?
no?
Then it's going to be the 4. At least that's how they've got it set up. Undyne's usually their 5, but the way it's looking is, I would assume that Death Prophet's better off
Four,
in the 5 in this situation, honestly.
4 or 5, I think it's decent. Like right now with the movement speed that you get, and when you use the Spirit Siphon or on Undying on top lane, he started with a stick, so he's 100% gonna be top.
Right.
Basically, it will be the Spirit Siphon and just man fight the Undying, make Panda's life a little bit easier and better, which does make sense.
Do you like this this TikTok getting
I love
spammed here?
everything, man. I'm spamming the bok one as well. Spamming all of it.
Is it reminiscent of this is what you sound like, but just not as good?
It's good enough. Like, let's not compare. Like, comparison is what makes you unhappy. Let's just enjoy things as we have them.
I'll enjoy this game for sure. I'll enjoy what's in front of me at the moment, and it's all 3 lanes being shown us. And just interesting to talk about is obviously you saw the mid was Echo against 7E. 7E's been an innovator at times. We've seen him do some crazy things. When there used to be the Ironwood tree, he would play that Windrunner mid and do a couple of like interesting spots. And it's also 7E playing against his old team, right? Like playing against the old Phoenix Gaming boys, now picked up by EHOME. And Echo is an old CDEC guy, if I recall correctly, too. Like
a little bit of a switcheroo here.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I wanted to play against some old team, I would definitely be a primal beast, you know, like just raging out. And I think it's a decent hero versus Broodmother. Like, he should do fine, right? Like, you can't really hit him. Like, the Uproar plus Trample will beat you down, so you have to be careful about the way you play. And Insatiable Hunger won't really help you that much if he's just hitting you for, you know, like 100+ damage every single hit.
Right. I'm interested to see how these players start to lane against Primal Beast. Obviously, you see him in pubs, but you don't exactly see him come pro games, or at least not up to this point, right? So now it's a little bit different. You have to go up against him. Where teams are going to play him, mid is certainly going to make my pubs a little bit interesting because it's almost solely seen as an offlaner in the pubs that I play.
Well, it's because it's been played on offlane quite a bit in pro scene as well. Like teams in the Eastern European region, they're playing it on offlane quite a lot. Even before the patch, it has been played on the offlane, right? Like before it was added to the captain's mode, Primal Beast was much always either a 4 or a 3. It does make sense to see him the most in that role, but heroes that are played on offlane generally can be played on mid as well, right? Like, it's kind of always like that, so... we'll see how much he can accomplish from that mid lane.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. I was wondering, like, am I wrong to think that this is actually a really good mid? He kind of secures CS really easily. He's got 1,000 health already at level 4. Like, he's super survivable here, and he can just... obviously, in certain matchups, it's going to be exacerbated, but it feels like, for the most part, 5 armor at the moment, he can kind of stand his ground in most matchups mid.
Not even easy to do that against the Brutes, so far he's been accomplishing this mid lane domination quite a bit.
Giving Echo the business.
Yeah, he does dodge him. But yeah, overall, so far he's been doing quite all right on mid lane. But there are some things that I always think about. Like, we can talk about the bottom lane a little bit as well. Zeal is doing quite all right versus the Clinks at the moment. Has to always be careful though, as you can roll on him later on with a tag team and ice shards. Once he gets all those spells, he can fall easily. But so far, so good for him. He's finding his farm. When it comes to the Primal Beast, however, like, whenever I'm thinking about mid lane heroes, it's like, can he accomplish mid-game domination? It's not only the lane, right? Like, if he has a decent lane, just how much does he do with those levels? Like, is he able to rotate? Does he have movement abilities? If he rotates, is it simple for him to take towers or kill heroes?
Right.
Does he benefit from the gold advantage that he's given on that mid lane? Like, these are all things that are yet to be answered, for me at least, when it comes to the Primal Beast.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how it kind of evolves, and maybe seeing in a matchup like this in a series, I would say that's pretty close. It could be interesting, as you know, we are going to see ZZQ just kill himself to the neutrals over in the jungle, and he'll be the first death of the game, but not first blood. They are trying to go in on Azil. Like you said, they might have an opportunity to do so, and they walked in front of the planet's roll, and, well, Clinks is going to get first blood, so a good job there by Undyne to get in front of the roll out from Planet to make sure that the damage is in, and when you've got the shards, it lines you up for that Burning Barrage.
Yep. Shards, you get the tag team, you get the Burning Barrage, Searing Arrows. The amount of damage that these two are dishing out is ridiculous. So you have option of, like, constantly dodging them, or constantly trying to keep them low so that they can't even go on you.
Right.
That's what they're trying to do right now.
Yeah, Undyne is now going to be the one who is in some trouble as they go forward and get that kill onto the Tusks, but a little bit of revenge there. I was going to talk about the fact that, like, I thought the communication from CDC, just a glimpse of it was pretty interesting there over bottom, because they initially went for Zeal, but they knew the quick switch, especially once they stepped in front of the roll, was to go for Planet. And you know, it's one of the reasons that I think CDC is kind of this underrated team at the moment, as, well, they came in first in Division 2, and bottom lane, Echo has just made a complete rotation. They're going to snowball over to Zeal. They'll bring in the Primal Beast. They'll try to come over and maybe turn this around with a third hero to make it a 3v3, and Zeal taking a lot of damage as that ult comes out for a second, but it's enough to get the kill into Zeal. They'll end up trading, though, the Clinks, which isn't the best trade for them to make, as Undyne now trying to deal with the Spiderlings coming his way, and 70 will try to help him out with that trample too. But Snowball, Echo under the tower, taking a lot of damage from Primal Beast too. 70 outputting quite a bit, and it only ends up being a 1-for-1, but not the worst rotation from Primal Beast.
Oh, this wasn't just not the worst. This was exactly what he needed to do. He needed to go back bottom and save his tier 1 and his Clinks. Clinks died in the end, but it wasn't one of these deaths in which you're just gone, right? Like, Brood dives you, you die, you also lose half of your tower. No, they got a couple of return plays there. They killed the Prophet, so, and they defended the tower. And it's exactly what he needed to do. The only problem is right now he doesn't have a TP. So if Brood does the same thing again, is it being shipped to him? It is, okay. So he's gonna have it again.
And Tusk again taking a lot of damage. They'll go for the Burning Barrage over bottom, and well, Undyne will make his way out. But they do have this ward, they do have the vision, and like you were saying, like, if Brood goes down there again, Echo does have the pathway down with all the webs, right? Like, so that is an option if he did want to just go down and potentially help get a couple kills and potentially take out that tower too.
Lynx and Tusk, they're actually hunting the Earth Spirit. They know he's around here somewhere, but they scanned him even.
Yeah, so they'll know Planet's behind enemy lines, and even with the Geomagnetic Grip and the Boulder Smash, they don't get the kill just yet, but ulti comes in from Zeal, and Echo's able to get a kill, trying to get a second one here on the Clinks. They've got the Sprout and a right click in from Zeal. They've got the trample. And 7E, he does have that ult available. He'll pulverize. Seal, though, he's going to walk away from this one. They've dropped on the tombstone, and 7E gets nothing out of this rotation. So this time a lot better for EHOME.
Yeah, and they take the tower too. I just love Primal Beast as a hero. It's so, like, silly. He goes in, tramples, then starts, like, whacking one guy and up against the floor. Prophet, meanwhile, just runs away. He doesn't care. Yeah, I'm a Primal Beast enjoyer. That's something.
I can understand that. A little bit of a pulverize once again. Roll comes out. Snowball lands on Echo, but Echo does also have a little bit of help of ZZQ and Planet. They're split up a little bit and maybe need to focus their attention on Undyne and trample right on top of Planet, and that should be enough damage to at least get them at 1 kill here, as there's not much ZZQ can do with a decay.
Like you said, at least 1 kill. They get something out of it. Because so far, all these rotations from Primal Beast, yeah, they give them a little bit, but it never feels enough. Like, it never feels like they're punishing EHOME's transgressions enough. Like, this Clinks is suffering. Like, he has 37 CS. He's the lowest in CS from all the cores. From net worth, he's a bit higher than the Brewmaster, but overall, it doesn't feel that great. However, Broodmother isn't really that farmed too at the moment.
Yeah, surprisingly, Echo is a little bit off from what maybe we were kind of expecting. Primal Beast, of course, in top of the net worth by a lot here over the mid counterpart by a full 1,000 gold.
A lot of rotations from Echo. Perhaps that's the reason. Meanwhile, every time 7E rotates, if nothing, he gets the Broodlings with a trample, plus he gets a kill, a couple of neutrals, right? So he's getting a lot out of that.
Yeah,
maybe he doesn't get the most necessary kills, but he still nets a kill or 2 on supports.
Yeah, the level 4 trample has allowed him to go down there, and even when they're fighting, he's taking creeps and doing something with his time. And even though it hasn't exactly turned into much in terms of these rotations for either team, it's enough so far. And you can see, look at all the gold that 7E just locks up with that onslaught.
Yeah, the massive 50 gold from all those fights that he got.
It was just a bunch of 3s. It was nice. Snowball. And trying to TP out. Roll will come in, stop that. And it'll be ZZQ who gets the kill onto Undyne. You have a Primal Beast behind them, potentially looking for a pinch if they want to save this mid-tier 1. The pushing power from EHOME is no joke. Top lane, yeah, they're going to go for the Morphling. They're looking for Shiro. He'll waveform away. They use the Primal Split. Shiro on the run, stunned up, right-clicked and killed. So Shiro doesn't make an escape.
They lose the
Really
tier 1
just
mid.
not working out for him.
They lost the tier 1 mid at the same time. That was a little bit on Shiro. Like, he was punishing Panda very deep. He was right next to the tier 1 tower. 7E, it was so simple for him to just TP in and onslaught his way to catch the Morphling.
Right.
But because his team is creating a ton of space, it's not that necessary
bottom
for him to stay in the lane.
Clinks is okay for now, and it looks like he'll just escape. Reapplied like 2 or 3 times over bot and looking for that Clinks, but never quite got the damage out there. Didn't have the vision, but ZZQ's here. He's got the dust ready to go right on him, and it's an Undying that's going to get the kill onto QQ and take out the Clinks again. But look at where Primal Beast is. 7E Sprout, who cares? I'm trampling.
Dying gank right there. Pop that Flesh Golem. Pop
Get an easy kill.
Yeah. Like one of those moments in the game where he can still do that, because very soon he might become foolish for things. Bottom lane.
Yeah, it won't be so easy. 7E goes in, and he'll run forward, going for Echo. The snowball lands on the edge, but that leaves him on the high ground. They're still focusing the bottom tower, though. Waveform forward. Undyne now goes into the tag team, and they've got that ult out from 7E. Snowball once again, and that's actually from Shiro, who's morphed into the Tusk, and a run right through the Dire side with a burning barrage over from QAQ. They haven't gotten a kill just yet, but they finally finish off Echo. They get themselves the Broodmother on one. They'll take the Tombstone. They look over at ZZQ, who's trying to right-click his way to a kill, but it won't work this time as 7E takes a second for CDEC. And, well, EHOME, they come up empty-handed. A little bit tough
It was
for
a
them.
bit too much from EHOME, right? Like,
They stayed too long.
Yeah, they stayed a little bit too long. I think they wanted too much from where they're at the moment. They do have an advantage, a slight one, in my opinion, just because of the way their heroes work and the items they've purchased. But at the same time, like you don't have to push your luck that much. It's still a tier 2 tower. They still have some plays, even though there was no Panda ulti to be used. Like they can still defend the tier 2. I have to say though, when it comes to the Primal Beast, I'm seeing one issue that he's having, that's mana.
Yeah, only 500 mana at the moment. He went forward there with the Onslaught, hit with the Geomagnetic Grip. They've got the Silence, but another Snowball save, and they're going to try and turn this around with the help of the Exorcism coming through from the Death Prophet. Tombstone dropped, and now Undyne, he's in pretty far. They'll lose the Tusk, the waveform forward, trying to take out a Death Prophet, maybe even a +1 on top of that. The roll lands onto the DP, and they'll get themselves a second. So this time, EHOME are the ones who come out on front.
Primal Beast kind of baiting his poor Tusk and that Prophet there into dying. He went a bit too far. Got Orchided, couldn't really escape afterwards. Tusk was pretty much forced to sacrifice his life for him. This might be a tier 2 on the bottom lane, and I think if you're CDC right now, you're just waiting for the BKB on Primal Beast. Once you have that, perhaps you're able to fight a little bit easier. You also do have Brewmaster. If you look at Brew, by the way, he is going for a Crimson Guard. It's a peculiar build. It makes sense when you're playing Brew into Broodmother. It makes sense when you're playing Brew into Nature's Prophet as well. I'm not the biggest fan of the item, but has it been changed, by the way?
Do you think that the Crimson Guard pushes back his like overall build that we're used to seeing? Is there something that you would rather see him pick up?
It's not a terrible item. Like, it's still good. Like, it still allows you to lane easily. It still allows you to do what he's doing right now, and that's be this frontline tank that no one can actually do anything about.
Right.
Like, they can't kill him. The only problem that I have is they're lacking a bit of damage on their whole side. They're pretty much reliant completely on Clinks.
Bottom
Pushing
lane.
that damage out.
How willing is EHOME to go in? And right now they're going to go with the help of Zeal. They've got the Snowball, but that's going to drag them all the way to Echo. And
another Orchid
used. They've got the Silence onto the Brew. The Burning Barrage comes out, but the damage is avoided for the moment. They go into the Flesh Golem on this Undying, and the waveform forward. They get the kill on the 2. They'll take out Undyne as well as the Brew. I'll look for the Primal Beast. 7E now popping the BKB, but still on the run. That doesn't exactly make him safe with every hero here from EHOME. Be forced to run away as they glyph out too.
They felt the same way I did about the Panda. They felt that he's unkillable, but he got Orchided after, just before he split. So they actually kill him off quite easily in that way. Meanwhile, what was funny is Primal Beast, we mentioned his mana, right? Like, he went in the fight, he used all his spells, and he didn't have enough mana to use BKB afterwards. so he lost all the HP. It's like, remember, BKB costs 50 mana now. It's significant sometimes.
That's not the worst death there for EHOME, but a good kill from CDC, especially when it gets them a tower to parlay off of. They might be able to get Roche. They do have the Exorcism ready to go, but it's immediately scouted by that Treant. So see if EHOME want to make a move in, especially without the Earth Spirit. That's really the initiator when it comes to these pit fights.
There's no BKB still on 7E for 10 seconds. They see Brewmaster as well. He's just gonna split.
And he splits. They snowball out. They're leaving the pit with this Exorcism hitting the end, but they get the kill into ZZQ. they'll at least get that for now. Undying getting a little bit low. They've got Shiro in some trouble. He's hit about half health. They bought back on the Undying. They still got Roche a little bit low. They'll look over on the high ground. Echo's there on the hill. They go in. There's the roll as well as the Magnetize. They're going to finish off Roche. They'll look for the Snowball to try to get it. Aegis on the deck, and it's picked up by the Clinks. But he might lose it very quickly. Silence on all these heroes on the side of EHOME. Can they get away with anything more than just getting a kill here onto the Clinks with the Aegis? They'll finish off the Death Prophet. The buyback comes in here from the Tusk. They get 7E, and the fight is looking really good for EHOME as they'll focus their attention onto the Brewmaster. The Burning Barrage doing some damage, but just not enough. Walrus Punch out onto Shiro, but he's still fighting his way all the way through. Echo taking enough damage to finally fall. They get themselves a second on the side of CDEC, but they end up losing more on CDEC as well. ZZQ, he's low with the right clicks coming in from the tag team. The Sprout is in. One more right click needed. Instead, it's going to be a Snowball. Waveform towards Undyne as he's trying to run. The Adaptive Strike gets thrown, but it's not going to be enough damage to get the kill there onto the Tusk, who did buy back earlier in the fight. And at the end of the day, Clinks, while he loses the Aegis, he survives for the most part, but everybody at some point died for CDEC, even though there was that Aegis.
And the buyback from Tusk as well, the Aegis from Clinks. Like, overall, it's obviously a win for EHOME, right? Like, they got more out of that. They kind of defended Rush too. It was very greedy from CDC to just go in the way they did with DP ulti as, yeah, you're strong, but you're not that strong at the moment. You got punished for it. The silver lining for them, however, is, like you mentioned, Clinks didn't die. And that's mostly because of the Quelling Blade that he's carrying. Like, he can't be sprouted. Every time he gets sprouted, he just Quelling Blades and runs away. So, really smart, neat little pickup there from the Clinks.
The Primal Split, was used really early in this fight. So, on cooldown here, where there's so much going on, the control is kind of lacking. There was a good silence from the Death Prophet that hit about 4 heroes, I think, on the side of EHOME. But again, when you don't have that Primal Split follow-up, you kind of, I want to say, lack control in this game. Because after the Onslaught, after a Walrus Punch and not having the Primal Split, like, what do you really have to lock down these heroes on the side of EHOME?
Yeah, their control is lacking for sure. You're mostly looking at Tusk.
Silent Snowball and a kill there, easily done. Planet falls, and they have also found Echo. They've got the ulti, they have the Burning Barrage. Echo on the run in the trees, but the trees don't provide enough cover for Echo to, well, scurry his way out with all those 8 legs.
Like, you'd think that control is mostly Tusk, and it is. Like, the shortest cooldown is definitely the Snowball, right? And the Walrus Punch. At the same time, Pulverize is not really the longest cooldown too. 28 seconds. You can use it a couple of times in a fight, yeah.
We've talked about how survivable he feels. He's got 2,300 health and 11 armor, so it's not exactly like Primal Beast is going to die too quickly in these fights. And if he uses Pulverize early enough, that's a little bit of lockdown. Get it off a second time, maybe you do it again.
Is he buying Aghanim's? He's buying Aghanim's.
Yeah, he's looking for the Uproar.
Well, that kind of helps out in the damage department as well, right?
Yeah, because it does feel a little bit lacking, right? Like, EHOME were able to survive. Obviously, they're able to run around the whole fight when there's not a lot of lockdown on CDC, but even then, like, it just felt like they were surviving through what was CDC throwing out quite a bit.
Can they kill him through BKB?
And they'll try BKB, and he's looking to run with that Onslaught and a TP.
There's no way. Like, there's no way just the 3 of them kill him. If they have every single hero there and they're all hitting him through the BKB, maybe they finish him off. But just the 3 of them, yeah, it's not gonna happen. They will take down the tier 2 tower, which will be traded for the top tier 2, however. But for the top tier 2, Exorcism has been committed.
Right.
So, he might even force a high ground. Well, Primal Beast is kind of far. They won't. Okay, both teams just settle on outpost taking.
Yeah, and the Exorcism had about, I would say, 40% left when they were able to get it onto the high ground. Gotta wonder if they
going
just got a
though.
little bit gun shy. But after the exorcism, this isn't exactly gonna feel that great. But they're I think just trying to move some heroes on EHOME back to the base if they can at least
Exactly.
even feint the movement. Ooh, Shiro's a little bit forward.
That's exactly what you do. You just try to force their hand a bit.
Again, a run
Spirit
from
in.
7E, but he's clipped himself with that onslaught. That's a bit of an issue. They're going to try and fight here. They've got the silence on it too. They'll roll in, land on the Death Prophet. And Imitator doesn't exactly have an exorcism to fight with, so there really isn't much coming from the Death Prophet except for silence. The roll hits onto the Clinks. They've got the lockdown, but do they have the damage to get the kill? They'll end up losing Planet. Adaptive Strike is through. They get the kill to the Clinks. They'll take him out for 70 seconds as ZZQ will fall as well. It's a 2 for 2 so far with the Walrus Punch from Undyne, but soon he's just going to be dying. And they'll look for more. They'll look for a fourth. They'll try to get the Brewmaster. The only one surviving right now is 7E because he was out of the fight to begin with because he ran himself on his own cliff.
He willingly RTZ'd himself at the beginning of that fight. There was no force stabs, no way of helping him. No one cared. Everyone just left him there. And
No one cared. Oh,
it was just a 4v5.
He's just in
I
again.
mean, for EHOME, that was the perfect way to start a fight. One hero, their mid lane, their like most impactful hero in these team fights gets cliffed instantly.
Yeah.
Like, and you have vision on him, right? Because of the tombstone and the ward. Like zombies were spawning on him constantly, so you knew exactly where he was. It's like you probably chuckle a little bit during that team fight.
It really does just feel like they're holding out the red cape and they're just looking like matadors out there. They're just like, oh, hey, and they'll pull it away and you'll cliff yourself and, well, the rest of the fight is ours.
Right? It feels that, especially Echo. Like, for me, it feels like he's the one with the red cape. You know, this Broodmother has been baiting him 24/7 in these fights. Like, every time there's a fight, he tries to onslaught on the Broodmother. He kind of jukes him, goes on the cliff, which he can't follow through, right? And then goes back.
Now he's finally got the
can't
uproar,
onslaught
though, with
over
the
it,
axe.
it's just- Sorry?
Now he's finally got uproar with
Yeah.
the axe, so...
There's Broodmother Axe as well. So
Yeah,
you have that snare, which is extremely damn annoying in these fights.
So beautiful.
Do you like this upgrade to uproar on 70? Or on Primal Beast,
not
more
sure.
specifically?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just wanted to see it in fights. Like,
Right.
I haven't seen it way too many times.
I've only seen it in the immediate post-patch analysis where it's super broken. And people are just messing around in demo mode, making it look very, very broken. I will say, surprisingly, as much as it, at least to me, has felt like EHOME have had a bit of control for a while, they're only up under 1,000 gold. Like, the game is still significantly close.
It truly is. Like, both of these teams are taking the right objectives. They're moving across the map well. Look at these plebs, though. Brood, yeah. There we go.
They got the silence, and they're going to onslaught onto the high ground once again. 7E trying to put out the damage. Undyne goes in with a Walrus Punch, but Undyne again will probably fall. They'll BKB on Zeal, but now no Nature's Prophet. Roll hits on a 70. They've got themselves the Primal Split. They'll look over the Death Prophet, who did use that Exorcism, and it's not going to last too long, because they're able to get the damage out and kill off this Death Prophet. ZZQ trying to survive as the buyback comes out from the Tusk. 7E with BKB. Onslaughts forward and uses that uproar. The damage, it looked like it was there for a second, but the Morphling's able to survive as the Snowball comes in with the Walrus Punch. They finally finish off Shiro, and that makes this a victory so far for CDC, and 7E wants more. They'll go after Planet. The Onslaught misses. The roll is in, and he'll finish off 7E instead. Clinks moves forward, but he's able to juke with the roll and get some space, and the Tusk has been rooted thanks to the Brood Axe. So Planet, TP, and escape.
Tusk going in. Maybe
Echo's still
Brood can
here.
actually do
Tusk,
something
you
about this.
just
Yeah.
fought back. Undyne, you may not want to
Snare
be
again.
there, and you're about to get snared once more. So they get the kill on Undyne. They'll look over the Brewmaster. The fight never exactly ended. But this time, Brew will walk away, and that will mark the end of the fight.
This snare, honestly, I was quite shocked that EHOME managed to lose this fight because they were set up on the high ground. They put the tombstone on the cliff, which couldn't be touched. Broodmother as well caught them with the spinner snare. Everything was perfect, really, from EHOME. But Prophet TP'd in way too close.
Yeah.
He's the one that dishes out a ton of damage, and he's the one that fell first. Plus, he didn't have a buyback.
He immediately went for the BKB and tried to survive, but he was just in too far. They've got the silence out of ZZQ, and they will quickly dispatch this Undying, who does have buyback. So ZZQ is going to be back really quickly. They're going to buy back on the Brewmaster, who fell to Zeal. The damage out there from him and Shiro. 3-man silence from Imitator, but they just don't have the help at the moment as 7E finally walks in with the BKB being popped by Shiro. But can he get anything more? The spinner snare, not going to snare anybody up. Nobody fell for the trap just yet. However, Clinks, Planet taking some damage. Planet turns around, looks for the roll. It's going to be off the mark. They're still looking for this Clinks. They'll get the Walrus Punch. They'll finish him off. So Planet out of the fight, and Echo in a little bit too far. He dropped his spinner snare down, but it's just nowhere near the fight. The uproar gets popped with BKB being popped by Zeal to get out of this one with a TP. They'll go after ZZQ again, who just bought back. They bought back on Echo, but the burning barrage damage is just too much for ZZQ to handle. So they will have to waveform out. They only got 4 heroes, and Roche is respawned.
The question is, do they come and fight? Because they did buy back. They do have their cores here, but you want to fight 4 versus 5 without Undying. Undying is very important for your team fight. Overall, like, so far from EHOME, wait, there's Exorcism used in, they go in the pit. Okay, now they have to decide really, do they commit or not?
Yeah, 40 seconds, no Undying, though. Undying, he's become what you said he would, and he's been pretty much food. And look at that, look at the damage it did to Roche, too. They'll look for the spinner snare and try to maybe get in for the Aegis, but the roll's a little bit too late. They get the kill on Undying, but they'll end up losing Planet, so there's 3 heroes alive for EHOME, and that is a long dead Planet, too. He's dead for 70 seconds.
I have to commend one single player on the side of CDEC. Has the Clinks. Like, the way he's been playing these fights is pitch perfect, pretty much. Why am I saying that? It's because from EHOME they have one plan, like one idea, and that is Earth Spirit rolls on top of Clinks, he kicks him back into the fight, like deeper into the fight, right? And then you converge on him, you swarm him, you kill him off. However, so far, it hasn't worked. It actually worked in the opposite way. Earth Spirit goes on Clinks, does not manage to roll exactly on top of him, misses the kickback, but his team commits way too deep, somewhere where Tombstone isn't, right? Like, they actually mess up their own fighting lines. They go way too far out just to catch the Clinks, and then the Clinks just turns on them. So, yeah, really nicely done so far from the whole squad of CDC protecting the Clinks very well.
Yeah, and to further that point, it does show that they have a lot of confidence on EHOME with Planet, right? Like, they're expecting him to hit his initiations, but to that point even, Clinks is just moving around these fights really well, and I think that kind of has to do with 7E jumping in forward and dealing, having to deal with the Brewmaster, and also I feel like so much attention has gone on to the Death Prophet the second Exorcism gets popped.
Yeah, they definitely do focus Imitator quite a bit. And
Just going in with a Walrus Punch, look at that, burning barrage damage.
Poor little Undying.
Never had a chance.
It's usually how it goes, though. Yeah.
They're gonna look to get the high ground. They get the glyph, but that means Exorcism's coming up next. This looks like at least a set of racks.
Well, look at Zeal. Like, he's not even thinking about defending this. He's on the bottom lane. Together with Planet, they're trying to set up. If someone defends, they're trying to set up a kill with Nullifier, Orchid, and Earth Spirit. But no one wants to defend.
So that first tier 3 went down. They've got the glyph again. They will glyph again, and now finally these heroes are starting to return back to the base, and they're going to look forward. They're going to try and do what they wanted to with Planet, going in with the kick, but they've got the snowball, right? Quick damage coming in out of Q to Q, and the Clinks is still able to survive with the Burning Barrage coming out, but they finally get the first life out of the hands of the Clinks. They'll take out Planet. There's no more Earth Spirit. Waveform over to the side. Look for 70 with BKB being popped. He'll go to the Uproar. The damage coming out. It's a lot on Azil. He's in some trouble. The snowball comes in. They get the kill on the Nature's Prophet, and they look for more. You got to Sprout out just in time, but I don't know how much is going to help as well. Now the Morphling turns into the Tusk. They get the snowball off, and they kill off Undyne. They'll buy back on Zeal, though. Right click through all the way, trying to get the kill into the Brewmaster, who's able to TP out. And that bottom tier 3, it is getting low, but it's not a big problem just yet for CDEC, as they do get away with a lot in that fight.
Of course, they force the Nature Prophet buyback as well, which leaves them with this opportunity to just... So, if you're a Prophet, you want to be split pushing all the time, right? Like, that's basically the point of the hero. Always has been, always will be.
Nothing
as
will
long
change.
as he has the teleportation, yeah, nothing changes. But now that you don't have buyback, you might have to think twice about doing that. If you do it and you get caught, the game just might be over. EHOME does not possess the amount of damage to take down anyone without York plus Nullifier. And the initiation from EHOME on that defense was actually really good. They kick back the Panda, they nullify, they orchid him. You would think that he would die, but not when there's a Tusk with a Blink Dagger. Right?
Yeah. He's got the blink, he's got the snowball, he's got the name for what he's doing. He's making sure they're undying, and well, he's keeping them alive long enough for them to turn it around. Like, even 7E dying there, he got the BKB off, got that uproar, started out putting a lot of damage. Like, it really is gross what he's able to do when he's in the center of these fights, even after he's dead. Or as he's dying, not
As
after
he's dying,
dead.
yeah.
Yeah. But even,
Tell
you
me,
know, the uproar and everything. And
are you enjoying the uproar from him?
it,
Like the
it just
Aghanim's?
reminds me of the Primal Beast RPG we had.
Right? Yeah, me too. And it feels like you're supposed to dodge it, but then it hits you and, like, nothing happens. You're like, never mind. I'm broken. Oh no. What will I ever do? I'm a nerd spirit that just got broken.
Yeah. Little bonus
I'm
damage.
not sure. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out, really.
9K lead, though, for CDC. I'm trying to figure out this Primal Beast. I've been watching him. It feels like his fights can be very feast or famine. But I guess that's also can be said for everybody. They're going to go through with the onslaught. They're going to look to get themselves at least one. They get the kill on Echo. They'll end up losing Undyne as the Morphling immediately looking for the waveform away, as they're going to lose ZZQ, and they bought back on the Tusk, so Undyne going to be back into the fray of this CDC side, and it looks like they're probably going to get away with going after these tier 4s and forcing EHOME to fight when they don't want to. I mean, these heroes, especially Echo, he's dead for 80. Like, they have no way to defend, and they've got another exorcism going. They can't face race. They never got through the bottom lane with that Nature's Prophet, and they're going to go here as they've got the Burning Barrage damage going out. They get the kill to Zeal. He's going to be dead for 100 seconds. They'll end up losing Shiro, and that should be all they've written for this one. As CDEC, if people are thinking EHOME are, you know, to take game one, they'd be wrong, because CDEC, they get themselves a little bit of an upset here in game number 1. Wow.
What about your
CDEC.
predictions? How many are correct?
1.
1?
I got 1 right.
Nice. I have 2.
Cool. So you 2, me 1, CDC 1, EHOME none. So if we're counting numbers, you win the series so far. It's all a lizard.